Alright, I think I finally got this stable. I've been crashing non-stop trying to get Battlefield to run, but I figured out if I undervolt the CPU, my system remains stable. So, if you're on an Intel PC and this happens, try jumping into Intel Extreme Tuning Utility and bring those performance cores down below 50. That should fix your problems. But enough about tech issues. Graphically, Battlefield 6 looks great. Not groundbreaking, but the color palette is very pleasing. Some elements like chromatic aberration and those red-green glares gave me a headache until I turned them off. And although the map looks great, the saturation is classic Battlefield. Shadows in particular are very dense in spots, maybe too dark. The gunplay is satisfying. It doesn't feel revolutionary, definitely not pushing the industry forward, but it feels like a return to form, kind of what Battlefield needed. There's a decent learning curve. Shooting is harder than Call of Duty, but not as punishing as it felt back in the 2010s. Although I've definitely improved at FPS games over the years, but so has everyone else, and it's still really satisfying controlling that recoil and getting kills. Aiming on controller feels alright. I'm habitually strafing back and forth, and it seems to be picking up some rotational aim assist, which helps. Acceleration feels a bit off, always has in Battlefield, and I'm not a fan of stick acceleration in general. In terms of gameplay, ammo management really matters. I kept running dry mid-fight, and that's exacerbated by the fact that every weapon is a 30-round mag, and it takes forever to level up. I've been playing for a solid hour, but I'm only level 2. Progression feels slow. I probably need to switch to a support class or use my squad mates better. Speaking of squads, dragging down teammates is a great addition. It looks really cool and feels immersive, though it takes a bit long to pull off. It's also kind of funny seeing someone just get casually pulled away mid-fight. Sliding crouch mechanics are pretty fluid, but I'm still figuring out crouch running. Generally, the animations feel a little slower than COD and can be quite clunky in gunfights when every second matters. Time to kill is fast and time to die feels even faster, especially when snipers are involved. There's a fatal shot mechanic where you can't call for a revive if it's a clean sniper headshot. That's a nice realistic touch. Mid-range fights feel tactical, holding angles and flanking works, but up-close fights can get messy, and it feels like the outplay ability from COD is missing. For example, you and a squad need to push around a corner, but you're being held by an enemy team, and things can kind of just stagnate. I probably need to run smokes or learn how to coordinate with tanks that could potentially blow open a wall. I think Battlefield's class system is really interesting. It's not full specialist like we saw in 2042. You still feel like just a soldier, but each class has clear utility. It's like a subtle COD perk system baked into your loadout. You are limited to one type of throwable, either a lethal or a tactical, but not both. One thing I did like is that you can skip through respawn screens super fast. I think that benefits everyone, even people who resist faster gameplay. When it works, footstep audio is solid. I could pinpoint a couple of players by sound alone, and thank God there's no more blood-curdling screams when you die, like in 2042. That was a nightmare. I'm glad that's not returning. I hear some people complaining about the settings, but I didn't think they were that bad. It's only a beta, so it wasn't even the full menu, but they didn't add back buttons in certain menus. Why? That's such a simple thing, and it breaks the flow. Also, for those of you on PC, secure boot is mandatory. If you're lucky, you won't have to do anything, but if you're really unlucky, you may have to format your entire hard drive. I don't know why EA doesn't supply a direct link to all this information off rip. You can say what you will about COD, but that franchise has mastered accessibility. It might sound silly, but I hate having to click the stick in. I really wish they would allow automatic sprint as soon as I push the stick forward. It wears down my controller and makes left and right strafing more difficult when trying to activate rotational aim assist. Also, if you're having trouble with your controller working on PC, you may be running an overclock that's incompatible with secure boot. I had to uninstall and download a different software version from the Lord of Mices page to get my controller working again. There's been a lot of positivity from influencers around this beta, which I love, but because of that, my expectations got inflated. It reminds me of the hype around Modern Warfare 2019, but I think that game was more innovative than this one. Battlefield 6 isn't shaking up the genre, but it's delivering on what it's supposed to. I'm glad the community's optimistic. It's a fun game, even with bugs and crashes. The team play is solid, and enemy highlights help a lot. When it works, this is the Battlefield we wanted. Tactical, satisfying, immersive. And the class system is core Battlefield, different from COD, and a breath of fresh air. Visibility is mostly good, dense shadows aside, and this is a beautiful game. very cinematic at times, but it's not blowing me out of the water. I will say there's a 30-second gameplay loop where I find someone, get a kill, and then die over and over, and that does get boring. But as I'm playing more, I'm using my gadgets, getting information, moving faster with my knife out, allowing me to break through enemy lines and get those 5-6 kills in a row while stealing an objective. When that happens, I'm having a blast. So, if you're finding yourself bored, try altering your approach. Maybe check out a gameplay guide or dial in your settings. This game doesn't have the big conceptual issues that 2042 did, and I think it's going to do quite well. It's not perfect, but it's fun, and most importantly, it feels like Battlefield again. I'm going to keep tweaking my setup, working through the class system, and trying to get better at flanking and ammo conservation. If you're playing on PC, expect to mess with your BIOS settings a bit. If you're on console, you're probably in for a smoother ride. Let me know if you've had similar crash issues or if there's a fix I missed, or if you figured out the best way to deal with ammo shortages. If you'd like to stay updated on new upcoming games, consider subscribing. This is Almanax, until next time.